I'm going back to the time 2007 when I was in the audience and I almost bumped into Anupam Kher, who was coming in to inaugurate the book, Hushed Voices. That was 2007. We're very, very honored to have him here again today, 2016. And that's the after the two earlier books, to land a publisher of the size, scale and footprint of Jaipur was in fact wonderful for Munmun, and thank you Jaipur, and a big hand. So I'm going to, what does one say to introduce this person who played as a 28-year-old Mr. Pradhan. So that was a film I watched as a 19-year-old with my parents. And I still think that possibly it made an impact on me to think that a 28-year-old could play with such authenticity and with such sensitivity and, you know, just depict that old man and the steps of Asiatic society. I mean, I'm 19-year-old and I don't watch too much cinema, but that made a mark. And to think that a person who began his career, his second film actually, and made a film of this kind, would go on to do so much, earn and so win so many laurels for himself, and demonstrate so many facets of you know, his career, his craft. And I think the biggest of all is that he has, in the last 15 years of having an actor, a school for actors, has been personally involved in training, mentoring, teaching the craft to young people, and I think that's fabulous. And that's not all. His interest in children, especially specially abled children, through his work with Ghosh has been well written about, and that's also something that makes him so different and so special. And to think that the person, for me personally, who played Mr. Pradhan, would go on to earn 5 Filmfare Awards for comedy. I mean, we've seen Shweta through her various portrayals on television. She's known for her roles in Kahani Kher Karti, Kusum, Adalat. And when I was Googling her, you know, and we're all actually smarter than we think, because we know we can just, at the click of a button, know what it is that's published about people. But I'll tell you, Shweta, what connected are 3 things. One, of course, is her passion for interior design and her beautiful, beautiful home that she keeps with Manav. Yes. The second thing is the manner in which she manages to travel continents with her baby Zara and her husband. And she's, I think, her baby's already at the age of 1, probably a frequent flyer. And the other thing which I think Munmun and I both connected on with Shweta was that she has an intensely spiritual side to her. And she is, you know, she practices, she meditates, she prays, and there's that part of her that's utterly, utterly beautiful and charming. Thank you so much for being here. So with that, I'm going to have Munmun first talk about the book. And Munmun, how did you go about, you know, writing this book? Hello. Thank Deepa so much for this introduction. Before I speak about the book, I'd like to thank all my friends for taking their time out on this sweet day and attending this launch. Thanks so much to Shweta for agreeing to do a reading so spontaneously. And finally, of course, thanks to Anupam for doing this launch for me. Okay, Anupam and I go back, as you said, a long way back. I think I'm going for the last 20 years. And I've interviewed him quite a few times in the past. And he's
one of our most well-read actors and has a really strong love for literature. I remember years back when I would meet him on the sets of some films, he would sometimes recount Anton Chekhov's stories to me. So that's Anupam. And when I published my first book, Hush Voices, I took it and just to show it to him, that's it. And Anupam finally come out with a book. He took it in his hand and he just said, Munmun, I'm going to write this book. That's it. I think that really boosted my morale, and that was 9 years back, and I'm glad that while a lot has changed in life in these 9 years, his support has not changed. And so we are here, and thanks Anupam for that. To speak about Thicker Than Blood and my journey as a writer, the question is why write at all, first and foremost. I believe that literature, like cinema, must and does portray important realities of life, be they social or personal. And it is important to do this to deepen human understanding and compassion. Also, I feel that literature must get us excited about the business of living. It must reveal the joy and beauty there is in life, even in the harshest of circumstances. I remember as a student of literature, when I would be reading D.H. Lawrence's novels, I would really feel exhilarated and excited about life or living, because Lawrence celebrates life in his novels. And that is the mandate I gave myself as a writer. Because I did quite a bit of research, and I would like to thank Rashi here, Rashi and Vinay Kumar, for the inputs, valuable inputs they gave me to write this novel. And also I would like to thank Maina Shetty of the adoption agency BSSK. I think the full form is Bharatiya Samaj Sevak Kendra in Pune, which I had visited and which, from where I got valuable input.
And don't know her very well. But I can say one thing about her, that she's definitely a very focused woman and very clear and determined, because it's very difficult to get me out of my own cocoon. And when I read this book, I feel that she has so much clarity of thought. The way she writes is so simple yet beautiful, uncomplicated, and it helped me transform. I think I became Mayuri. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to read, to do a book reading, because this is the first time I'm reading a book in public, and that too aloud. Am I audible? I sprawled on the sofa and kept surfing channels on the telly. Nothing grabbed me. I played with the idea of logging into Facebook, but I had nothing to post. I blinked at the television, not daring to switch it off. I considered calling up Seema. That she would have zoomed off to the reading of her new play. Our in-laws too had grudgingly accepted her new profession. Though they could not be persuaded to watch her act, she did not care. And how Rahul, her husband, was reacting, I did not know. She did not talk about him at all, and very little about Bablu and Tina, her children. She was consumed by her new passion, and exhorting me too to engage in some real work. What work? I queried. Do some social service. How does one go about doing social service? I was baffled. And would social service fulfill me? You could join an NGO. There are so many NGOs working with street children, orphans. Which one should I join? Whichever suits your temperament. There may be some NGOs in your neighborhood. Find out. It's absurd. What? I mean, isn't it absurd to be dashing around looking for people to help when actually you need help? Don't unemployed people scout for jobs. Seema quipped. Mulling over the exchange, my mind skied to the women's organization called Gen Innocent, which which I had learned housed in a building 3 lanes away from our apartment. On an impulse, I leapt off the sofa and in minutes I was out on the road. Soon I had located the organization. I passed through the open door into what I assumed was the main door of the NGO, a small room with wooden windows. An elderly woman poised at the table looked up at me inquiringly. I opened up to her. Could I be of any help at the center? It's extremely nice of you to offer your services, dear, but at this moment, I can't think of anything. Leave your number behind anyway, she said politely. Something may come up. I returned home with 3 packets of methi khakhi. Confused, perturbed. Every place seemed to function ideally without my intervention. What could I do then with the energy and goodwill bubbling within me? If I dismissed my 2 domestics and personally executed every household chore, then I'd exhaust my physical energy but would still be thirsting inside. I had rejected invitations to join kitty, believing I was meant for more and more. I was ready to put my energy to some good use, but the world did not seem to need it. Was that possible? There was wisdom in contouring a career for oneself before one climbed the mountain. I couldn't withdraw at that point.
Sorry, we can't hear. I'm sorry, we can't.
I returned home with 3 packets of methi khakis, confused, perturbed. Every place seemed to function ideally without my intervention. What could I do then with the energy and goodwill bubbling within me? If I dismissed my 2 domestics and personally executed every household chore, then I'd exhaust my physical energy but would still be thirsting inside. I had rejected invitations to join kitties, believing I was meant for more important things. I was ready to put my energy to some good use, but the world did not seem to need it. Was that possible? There was wisdom in contouring a career for oneself before one died the march. I mused with regret that. A new idea occurred to me. I nudged women who were sleeping on the side, female sound. Women, listen. I wish to work for our company. There must be some work I could do in our main office. You don't need to do any work, my dear, women slur. But I wish to. I feel useless. For an answer, he stretched out his arm and laid it on my hip, pulling me to himself. His company was performing well. He had proved a point to his father. He was happy. He had found his fulfillment in his reborn company. But he was not enough for me. His love was not enough for me. I acknowledged to myself again. I needed something more. I needed a child. That was the bottom line. But did I really have a strong maternal urge? And what was this maternal urge? I questioned myself. It was certainly not like hunger, a compulsive pointed poke from inside. It was not even like the sexual urge, that sharp contraction in your deepest secret being and that peculiar sensation of dissolving of limbs melting. The urge to bear seemed to have no physical corollary. Then was there really something like a maternal urge? Was it that it woke up, clamored, and set up a ruckus within a woman once she conceived, and her baby began to grow inside? Or was it the maternal urge was simply a craving derived from the environment, a desire to fulfill a social stereotype? In the dark, I wrote out the same answer as always. I wanted a child for the sake of women, for my own sake. A child I could work upon every day, thought by thought, move by move. Oh, what a joy that would be. Should I again seek out an infertility specialist? The thought possessed me again. I'd like to read one more paragraph, which is the last paragraph of the book. My favorite. And I'd like to end the reading with this paragraph. For the great truth is that while blood relations matter and have tenacity, there's something thicker than blood in this world. Something which has the power to create families and everything that's beautiful in our lives, and which really holds up this world. The human capacity to love can be trusted. That is what I have learned. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There are more ladies, so this speaks about triumph of ladies. There are certain things in life which you I always believe that your first reaction to a person, to a situation, to a feeling is the truthful reaction. When we meet certain people, you like them or you don't like them. I always go by my first, some people call it gut level feeling, some people call it instinctive feeling, some people say that, oh, this is what. And then our mind manipulates it over a period of time, then say, no, it's not right to say the right thing, it's not. But actually the first feeling is the most important feeling. And I've dealt with my life on my first reactions, on my first feeling. So Munmun, when she met me many years back, she was a journalist in a magazine, and she had come to interview me. And there was a certain amount of earnestness in her, a certain amount of sincerity, and a certain amount of, like Hindi mein word hai bebakpana. I went to Hindi medium school, so I do not know how to translate that, but I'm sure everybody knows that. I believe in also one more theory that there are certain relationships which are like a pause button on a tape recorder. You just have to press the pause button and it starts from where you left. She came to me, she did not even come to me this time, she just sent me a message. So she also did not say that I want you to come for the launch or I want you to launch that. She said it was her subtle way of another book. Second book she did not come to me. I don't know your reasons, so because I'm just telling you the chronological order. When I read her first book, Hushed Voices, I read it as an actor and I thought it was great pieces of performances in them. In fact, I made our students perform on those various pieces. First one I asked for to launch her book. Second one she did not come to me. Third one she also did not invite me, just she sent me a message. But there is so much of joy to do certain things for people who you believe in that you don't have to be invited, you just want to put your stamp of conviction in your mind on them, and that's the biggest test of any relationship, whether you've met them or not. So Munmun, this is not for you, this is for myself. I have not read the book, so I should not pretend to sort of give you answers later on. I asked her what is the book about. I said, tell me in one line what is the book about. She went into you can't tell a novelist who has written 120 pages and tell me in one line, 250 pages. So she almost wanted to kill me with an invincible knife that, how dare you ask me about, but I wanted to understand what is she trying to sort of say. She said, okay Anupam, it's about adoption. It makes it, can you stop prompting me now? Let me speak. Maximum what will happen? I'll say wrong things. Isn't life also talking about wrong things? Why should we be so perfect? I'm not perfect. Your main character is not perfect. That girl is not perfect. That's why she is so believable. Okay, now I will speak and you will not prompt me. So a few years back, 10, 12 years back, I discovered there is much more to life than just cinema and acting. And that's when I started working with mentally challenged children opposite my house, in Ghosh special school. There was a bus overturned on Juhu Beach, and everybody was passing by, as that happens in the city. And there were these children who were petrified, who were agitated. When you see these children, you look at them a little extra. So I picked them up and dropped them to the school, and that's how my association started with the school, because the Spanish nun, Sister Dolores, did not know who I was. She did not know that I was an actor, because she was busy with her work, etc. And she said, so what do you do? I said, I'm a speech teacher, which is the truth. I do speech therapy. So she said, I said, I want to teach here. So she said, what will you teach? I said, I want to spend time with them, and 2 hours in a week, and I'll work on their speech. So she said, okay. And she said, would you like to meet the children in the classroom? And I went to the classroom, and everybody jumped at me and said, oh, we have seen your movies, we have seen on television, you make us laugh, etc., etc. So Sister Dolores got a little upset. She said, are you an actor? I said, yeah. She said, you work in movies? I said, yeah. She said, her next sentence really bothered me. She said, have you come to our school to learn how to do a mentally retarded person's role? And that was very sad for me. I said, no, that's not the reason I'm here. She said, no, because we don't want to do that. So then I said, I will come here for 1 year on every Wednesday, wherever I am in the world. On every Wednesday for 1 year I'll come here. But please don't tell anybody that I am teaching here. She said, why? I said, because people will think that I'm doing it for publicity. So she said, Mr. Kher, then don't come and teach her. Because out of 100 people, if 4 people believe you, for us, those 4 people are very important. So after that, I keep telling this story and whatever I can do. Adoption, I think, is the best form of giving life to a child who is not come out of your womb. That's why I love the title, Thicker Than Blood, because blood relationships necessarily do not do the best thing for their parents. Not necessarily, we have seen many stories. But apart from that, it's also taking charge of a child who unfortunately does not have does not have parents to sort of see him or see her grow up. So I think thanks for writing on this. Apart from that, your book is about man-woman relationship. It's also about, I think, it's also about reinventing person. That's what Munmun has done. She keeps reinventing herself. That's why she will always be contemporary. And that's what we need to learn from people like Munmun and whatever I heard about you. Whatever, I think it's very important, as people, create things which will make you feel important. We give importance to the whole world, but we don't give importance to ourselves. We want to love the whole world, but we don't want to love ourselves. Or we don't love, because unfortunately in our system, in our society, the moment you say I love myself, you are said, oh, you are selfish. But if I don't love myself, I won't have the capability of loving another person. As a journalist, we have a relation. I have so many. Chaitanya is here, Rock is there. It's so amazing to. These are friends from my earlier days, Saransh days, and I believe in maintaining relationships. I believe in maintaining relationships because they are your bank of richness, of how you grow as a person. So when I meet Rock, or when I meet Chaitanya, and when I meet Munmun, I discovered, oh, I have done so much, but still my heart is the same, because the smile we exchange with each other is the same. As far as books are concerned, I have 2 more minutes? Yes. As far as my book is not here, by the way. Tidal Waves. No, not Tidal Waves is the name of the shop, no? So I'm asking them, why isn't my book here? It's in the 18th edition. It's translated into 11 languages. It's not there. Please keep it here. I'm beggar, please. Because for me, winning all those awards is not important. Means of course it's important, but for me to be a writer was the most important thing for me because I never got more than 38% marks in my life. So when I'm introduced, which you did not, as author, I suddenly feel I'm important. My introduction to the books happened, I came from a poor family. And when you are in a small town from a poor family, you dream a lot. And because you think that one day life will be better, one day I will be better, one day I will wear better clothes, one day I will have better food, one day my father will treat me to a better place, etc., etc. But my grandfather used to say, when you are very poor, the cheapest thing available is happiness. And in that thing, in Soviet Sangh ki kuch kitabein hoti thi, translated into Soviet Sangh from there was a treaty between Lokatha and Buddhism. A book was given to me by my uncle in my 9th standard called Mother by Maxim Gorky. So that book changed my life and I got into a world where I was happy. I was reading books and I was saying, wow, this is the best way to get rid of your own stress. And I'm happy to say, not wanting to sort of boast, but I used to go to every Sunday flea market behind Jama Masjid and Lal Killa in Delhi and pick up books, and the most amazing books I picked up from there. I had a collection of 14,000 books because that was the most amazing treasure that I have. And I have donated that book to my library of my school. And I feel sad that now there is, even though technically or technologically it's wonderful to read books on computers, but you don't have the feel of the books. और गुलजार साहब की एक बड़ी सी पोएम है, वो मजा नहीं आता। मामा तो उससे क्या कर रहा है, सेम उंगली लगा रहा, पता नहीं कितने लोगों ने पढ़ी होगी ये किताब। But the feel, the smell of the books is so amazing. So I wish you great success with this book. And on your behalf, I want to thank Jaiko people also for coming up with this book. And you don't have to take 9 years to call me next time to launch your book. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me that all your books will be released by me. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Anupam, so much for saying that. I hope I can come back to you in a year's time latest, with a new book.
Don't worry about the quality of the book. I'll release it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So now we're going to be launching the book formally.
स्टील बैठ जाना प्लीज। बैठ के ले लो प्लीज यार, पूरा ब्लॉक हो रहा है। मोबाइल और थोड़ा ऊपर। हो गया ना, अभी क्या है, करने देना, कितने देर तक चलेगा। हाँ वो कप से देखो, ठीक
So I think now we can move to the question answer session. And what I'll do is
I don't have a child of my own. I have a stepson, Sikandar, who is more than a child for me. I understand the urge to have children. We've gone through comic timings when you are wanting to have a child because the doctor says that you have to do it at a certain time, etc., etc. You have to rush, etc. And you have to, the egg is formulated. So we have gone through that whole rigmarole. It's sometimes not so funny, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it is. So I can understand what she writes and what her friend must have gone through. So urges are always there. I think it's a very not only a maternal urge, it's also a father's urge. Because actually, if the father wants to see a child grow up in front of him, it's apart from feeling that, wow, maine kya paida kiya hai. And he has no contribution except for whatever he has. But yeah, I think it's that can leave. That can leave sometime. It should not leave a woman with a sense of incompleteness. Also, the society tries and sort of tells her that, oh, you don't have a child, etc., etc. But we went through that whole phase, me and Kiran and I, and the fact that Sikandar was there, it was wonderful, but sometimes you feel, I initially never used to feel bad. Sometimes now I feel that, oh, it would have been wonderful. But that's why I work a lot with children, because that my urge, that should not be connected to, but I think my urge to be with children gets fulfilled with these special children. Recently, on my father's 4th death anniversary, I celebrate his life instead of mourning his death. So we invited about 700 children from underprivileged background, and we had a orchestra of blind people to sort of do that. So it's amazing to have any street children. I think the kind of innocence these special children have is the most amazing feeling. So I do empathize and I do identify sometimes with these feelings.
One more quick question.
No, but first of all, let me just tell you, he's another friend of mine who I have known, I don't know where he was standing, for the last 30 years. These are all the people who said nice things about me after Saransh and did not say so much nice things about after that. That we have maintained a certain relation. Yes, please.
The question is, earlier the problem was how to stop babies. I know we had these concepts. Right now the problem is young couples are finding it difficult to conceive. So what do you do?
Dr. Sonavala would have answered this question.
No, I tell you what my contribution to this is. I feel there's a lot of stress now.
I think in bigger cities, there was a time my mother, and I'm sure some of the ladies over here, accepted their role of being a housewife. You know, rightfully now, I think women have to work, they like to work. The world tries to make you feel incomplete. It's not your own, I think the world tries to make you feel. The marketing has become the most important thing. Meri kameez aapki kameez se zyada safed has become translated into real life now. So the whole thing, the stress, I must tell you one incident. I think Kiran will kill me for sharing this incident. But I have to share it since this is the topic. We were trying to have a baby, Kiran and I. And we were going to, she used to go to Sonavala and Dr. Sonavala, and it was not happening, etc., etc. So one day I was doing the funny song of Ram Lakhan, A-G-O-G, with the chutiya and things like that, and dhoti and things like that. And Kiran was told by the doctor that, okay, you have discovered that ovulation period, etc. has to happen, the egg has to burst, and you have to go and sort of make love. And so she called me up. Those days Noval was not there, so she called me up on the landline and she said, please come. I said, I am doing the climax of Ram Lakhan with this chutiya and with dhoti and kurta. and Satish Kaushik and Anil Kapoor and Jackie Shroff, and there are 18 people on the set. I can't. She said, I'm waiting. It has to happen within the next 1 hour or 2 hours or something like that. What do I tell Mr. Ghai? Also because I need to participate, because I also want to sort of, we've been wanting to have child for the last 3 years. So I told Mr. Ghai, sir, I have to go. He said, पागल हो गया? तेरा ही एंट्री है? हुआ क्या है? मैंने कहा इनकम टैक्स की रेड हो गई है. That was those days. That was the only reason one understood. When I reached home, she looked at me. She said, "Go back. Don't expect me with this chutiya and this dhoti and this thing like that." So I have a knack of looking at all the serious events of my life. When I look back, the only way to look back and sort of grow out of them is to look at honeily. But when that is happening, I think it's not the best thing that is happening. But I think it's so wonderful to be able to look back. You cannot keep on talking about your self-pity is the most unattractive thing in the world, especially in a man. No, especially in a man. Means I'm sure that nobody loves me syndrome kind of a thing, darling. Nobody loves me. I think we need to get out of it. And so I think we need to live life on daily basis. We were talking about marketing, the stress that we were talking about.
Right.
I think there's 100 people, 200 people over here. Everybody is a persona. Everybody is a personality. As long as we think that we are the best thing that has happened to ourselves, it will be easier to sort of deal. Because the more you think about it from the other point of view, I think it can become difficult. I hope that answers your...
One question for Munmun. From this sea of subjects, sea of themes, why did you choose this theme?
Okay. I think Nilesh, you missed the beginning when I spoke about this wine and innocence. Because as I said, I think that the urge to create is the fundamental urge. By the way, I am single. I do not have a child. I am a biological child. But for me, the process, I mean, that desire to have a child or any kind of creative struggle fascinates me. Because it's fundamental. You know, it's not like... And as I said that when I actually heard Rashi's story, as it was really, she's here, so I thanked her. And I feel that's the essential struggle of any human being, that when you want to create. But I think for Rashi, as it happened, she was a homemaker, you see. So for her creating that child, having a child, maybe is as important for me as writing a book. Because for me also this is a baby, so I identified completely with it. And just to answer what Anupam said, I have to comment on this. You know, when I approached Anupam with this book, Thicker Than Blood, I was really apprehensive. And I'm so glad today that he has dispelled all my doubts. You know, because when I was approaching him with this book, I said that, you know, I knew that he has gone through this. I knew he has. And I was thinking that, you know, will he feel like uneasy with this, and will he launch my book for me, and all these kinds of doubts were there. But then I just knew one thing, that no, this is a man of courage. He is a man of courage and sensitivity, you know. These two qualities in him, I mean, not just whatever, and what he has just said has really proved it, you know, that he could come out in the open and talk about this like this. I think it's really reflects great courage on your part, Anupam. Thank you so much.
Munmun, that's why I said you should meet me more often.
Sure, I'll do that. So I think that is what he has, you know, reflected, that, and he has dispelled all my doubts, you know, and again reinstated I think, my faith in, you know, human beings and their essential courage. We are all courageous people. I think we should really celebrate that, and thank you so much.
I genuinely believe that the world tries to frighten you with what you think is your shortcoming. They try to frighten you. That's their weapon. If you yourself talk about it, now people think this is the very bald, sexy, good look. Now if I start thinking, oh my God, I'm bald, then the world will try to. My left leg is thicker than my right leg. I'm saying it. 10 years back, I had a facial paralysis. I'm saying it. 11, 12 years back, my company almost went into bankruptcy, and seeing it. Now what will you frighten me with? So just say your problem and there is nothing these people will frighten you with.
Hello. Both of you, first of all, Munmun and